UWA Sport Park for this round 12 Fortescue Women's Premier Grade match between the Wanneroo Divas and the Kalamunda Queens. And it is the Fortescue medal group. It is the FMG Women in Rugby round. My name's Jason Marable. I'm joined in a very cold, windy commentary position again with the co-commentator Dane Lazarus. Dane, the last round for the women's regular season. It's Women in Rugby round. How good?
It's really good, Jason. Yes, last time we were down here, it was cold again, so that's okay. Rugby can be played in any weather, which is amazing, and it's great to see so many ladies down here. Number of games that are just finishing, and we've got 2 more that are about to kick off. So, yes, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we've just seen the women's community grade play 15s for the first time this year. And it was a combined team, so West Scarborough and Palmyra. Actually, it was West Scarborough and Perth Bayswater, UWA and Palmyra getting together, putting together 23, playing 15s, and they did the same last year. So a good end to the season for them, getting an opportunity to play the 15s game, and it was a pretty cracking game, end to end, and a great way to kick off this Women in Rugby round. And we're doing it back to back today. We've got 2 games in a row. We'll have a bit of a break, but the first game, first cab off the rank, is league leaders, the Kalamunda Queens, taking on the Wanneroo Divas here at beautiful UWA Sport Park. The deck looks good. Doesn't look to be any rain around. It just is a little bit chilly.
Yes, it could be worse, Jason. We could have the rain, which looks like it will hold off for us today. And not too sure, Jason. We've got both team lists here. Should we run through them?
Yeah, do you want to run through the team list while I get myself sorted?
Yes, no problem. We'll go through the Kalamunda team sheet first. Number 1, Kitana Kamazoni Heki, Herabob Malcolm Heki, and Braxton Walker. Number 4, Huriana Ohaya, Nadia Mason, Amelia Murray, Trelene Pomari, and Nari Little. Those who would be familiar with Trelene Pomari, normally 10-12, but probably just wants to get involved in the contact. Number 9 and 10, Rosie McGeehan and Nicole Leddington. Number 11, Sophie Foster. 12, Carly Stevenson. 21, Zakia Kariopa. Number 14, Journey Kariopa. And rounding up the starting team is Ariana Ruru Hanaki. That's the Kalamunda starting 15. Jace, do you want to run through the Wanneroo team?
Sure. So number 1, we've got Hannah Palele playing the hooker, Latia Roy. Number 3, the veteran, Sarah Arsam. Number 4, Sophia Telemaria. Number 5, we've got Jade Guest wearing the 17 jersey, but playing in the 6th position is Frida Arsam. At open side is Kira McCaskill. Number 8, the captain, Rangapipi Kaui. Number 9 today is Zoe Gillard. Number 10, playing a fly half, is Aisha Wigley. Number 11, Nakaya Ursig. Number 12, Jenna Jordan. Number 13, Topaz Jean Porter. Number 14, Harmony Tuapola. Number at the fullback is actually number 15 is Namahi Monk. And that's us. And a couple of changes there, a couple of rubs a little bit. So this time in the season, squads are always a little bit thin with injuries. It's been a long season, and a few players will be playing in positions that they probably aren't usually playing in, to be fair. So it'll be interesting to see a few players. Opportunity for Zoe Gillard at the 9 position, taking over from Aisha Wigley, moving to fly half, which they haven't been playing. Namahi Monk was playing in the centres. She'll have a go at fullback in this game as well. And the Perth Gold selectors are here today, Dane. So it's also the opportunity for these ladies to put some game on film, put something on show for the Perth Gold selectors, and book a trip over to Ballymore later in the year, the end of September. So there'll be a few spaces up for grabs there, and we might even have a few of the ladies come up and join us in commentary and have a bit of a chat throughout the day. As I said, we're celebrating Women in Rugby round, and plenty of rugby on here at UWA Sport Park to round out the women's season before finals.
Yeah, and I think that Perth Gold that you mentioned, Jason, is just another opportunity that's, I guess, come about to allow the ladies to get more rugby in and at the next level we obviously have the 2029 World Cup here in Australia, so these opportunities along the way to that dream, and there's a number of girls who in my opinion could make it, and the selectors no doubt will be hoping to find those gems and invest time and effort into those girls to upskill and give themselves the best opportunity to represent Australia at the home World Cup, which will be super exciting. So just another opportunity created by Rugby WA and the sponsors.
Yeah, and I think like there's a pretty big women's World Cup match on today, and you've seen the amount of interest in women's sport that's created. So hopefully, when we're hosting the Women's World Cup here in a couple of years' time, we're similar exposure for our game, and it leads to a similar growth in women's rugby and the excitement around the Matildas. So hopefully we'll have a similar excitement around the Wallaroos in a few years' time, and there's some young ladies out there that will be in their prime for Wallaroo selection, I reckon, when that World Cup comes around. There's a lot of young players in this Wanneroo Divas squad, particularly in the back line.
Yeah, and I think throughout the day we'll pinpoint a couple of those girls who, have stood up this season. So there's lots to play for still for this season. Lots to play for.
So after this round, the women's competition will have a bye before finals, and finals will be a semi-final. The number one team, which currently that's the Cala Queens, top of the table, they will go straight through to the grand final, and 2 and 3 will play off in a semi-final. And speaking of players playing out of position, we've got a Wallaroo on the field in Trelene Pomare wearing the number 7 jersey, a bit of a change for her. She probably just fancies a change. She's played a lot of rugby this year and thinks, I'll just have a crack at open side, see how we go. Tired of playing in that 12 jersey, but gives an opportunity for Charlie Stevenson in that 12 jersey.
I think having the experience of Trelene in the squad will be immense today, Jason. We commentated the last game between these two, and it was an absolute cracker out at Hartfield Park, so looking forward to this one.
Yep, hopefully she's over the jet lag from the trip to Canada. That usually sticks around for a few weeks after a pretty long trip out there. And as Leddington gets us underway for the Cala Queens, with a nice kick off there, hangs it high, and Rosie McGeehan knocks it on, trying to collect it on the full, and the Divas will bring it away here, and Trelene gets involved with the first strong tackle of the game.
Yeah, she looks in really good nick there, Trelene, out to Aisha Wigley. Gets her first hands on the ball, strong carry up the field there, ripped out. Ref is allowed it to play up and just calls it a knock on there. So unlucky, good carry there by Hannah Palele. Strong over the gain line, but just couldn't hold on to it there. So we get the first scrum, exciting times. First scrum of the game is always one of Chris Heiberg's favourite things. So let's hopefully we put on a show for him.
Yeah, and obviously front row key position. So today is a good opportunity to look at those Perth goal positions and front row. We know all season the Kamazona Heke sisters have been taking names in that position. They've been probably the players to displace out of that position. But Sarah Arsam is an experienced scrummager, and I'm sure she has a few tricks up her sleeve that they haven't seen now. And here's Carriopa with a strong carry forward for the Queens, and they have themselves a penalty for a high tackle. Higher, taking it up for the Queens. Guillen goes digging in, throws it out to Kamazona Heke, who throws it to Kida Barb. Malcolm Heke, it comes loose, so the referee will take us back for the high tackle.
So just struggling to get into a bit of momentum here, both teams. It's only been a couple minutes into the game, but not quite the cohesion you would want coming out of the blocks. Good first scrum by both teams. Clean ball for Kalamunda and a short pass there from Nicole Leddington to Carriopa.
And that kick's not gone out, and that's fielded well by Gillard. The Divas will look to exit their 22 after the kick didn't find touch. Good strong carry there up to the line by the Divas. Gillard, Wigley being freed. Arsam with the fend. She's brought down. It's stripped well in the tackle there by Cariopa, but the Divas have recycled it, and they've got a few numbers here on the blind side. Wiggly shows and goes and throws a clean pair of heels, comes back into midfield. A good tackle there by Ariana Hanake, and the ball's turned over, but a good dart there by Aisha Wigney, playing in the 10 position today. And a bit isolated because she's so quick. I think she ran away from the support players just because she's prone to a dart and a snipe from the 9 position, but she's shown she can do it from the 10 position as well. As Leddington kicking into the wind. I'll give you the regular Jason Marable wind update throughout the game. Get a read on the knottage for you, Dane, and as it's...
I think if Aisha had that opportunity again, Jason, I think putting it on the boot and letting her pace, back in the pace, maybe even looking for a 50-22 would be something she could look at in the future.
Yeah, as the fullback came up and committed, that's when you potentially have the opportunity to put it in behind them, but nonetheless, a good line break for the Divas, and they go to a good line out by the Cala Queens, and it gets a bit scrappy, and Pomare comes in to Cariopa. Good carry from her, bring it into midfield. Again, for Leddington. And R8 goes out wide to the far winger. And Kira Barb Malcolm Heke with a strong carry for the Queens as they find themselves inside the 22. And just been turned over by the Divas there as well. They were setting up the Queens, and it's a really good strong run here by Hannah Palele, I believe, and takes it up. So good defensive set there from the Divas as the Queens looked to be moving on inside their 22, and that's McCaskill bringing the ball forward. And Aisha Wigley puts it on the boot, trying to exit out of their 22. Takes a good bounce, and that's not a bad effort. The Divas will have the line out 10 into their own half.
Yeah, not a bad amount of attacking play there by Kalamunda, but we saw number 9 Rosie McGeehan just snipe close to the rock and get turned over. Probably the better option there would be to actually have let that ball go towards the back. Had a lot of extra numbers and just isolated herself and then turned over. But really good heads up play in defence by Wanneroo, and they're out of their 22, and a good steal there by Sophia in the line-out, Talamarai. And Wanneroo going on attack, Kira McCaskill. She looks to carry hard, takes 2 to bring her down, and she's over that gain line. Gillard back the blind side to Tuapola. And just bundled into touch there, so a good line-out steal, Jason.
Yeah, it was great. I was just thinking, when we have our first score of the game, we might have our first interview of the game as well. Here's here of women's rugby. It's we want to get some perspective from some of the ladies playing in the competition. So once we get a score, do you want to do the interview? I'll get off, or no? We're going to kick Dane off the commentary for 5 minutes and have a chat with one of the Cottesloe She-Gull players.
I think that's a wise option, Jason. That's a wise option. But just here at the line out there, Wanneroo again competing really, really well. Talamarai is getting high, timing it really well. Just unfortunately knocked it on in the line out. So we have a second scrum of the game to Kalamunda. And they'll hope for the same result. Nice steady scrum, ball in, ball out, and allow these backs, the threat that they have in the back line, to go at Wanneroo here at the Divas. Just a bit of a slow play here. I think it's a wise tactic here by Rose McGann, just to freshen up the Kamazoni Heki ladies in the front row. Allow them to exert their power here. So we'll have a closer look here at the scrum.
Well, they get through a lot of work, those front rowers. And it's a good scrum by the Queens. And it comes out now out the back to Leddington, and Cariopa, that's Journey Cariopa, looking to get around the outside. She's brought to ground by Topaz Jean Porter. A couple of under 18s there having a crack, great to see. And now Kamazona Heke carry in midfield. And that's Hira Barb throwing it, and it's just passes just out in front there of Charlie Stevenson and the knock on, but there was an offside penalty there, and they take it quickly. And here is Trilene Pomare, throws it out to Carriopa, and Carriopa is brought down in the tackle. The Queens there a few metres out here, they fling the ball wide. Go here by the Queens, chip off a few metres.
They've called the troops in. Rosemary Gans called the troops in. Take it from here.
And
Braxton Walker.
It's a great try by Braxton Walker. I think she looked up, saw that the first tackler wasn't in position, and we're going to welcome to co-commentary Sophia Fuentes. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Yeah, you did. You did really well there. Actually, most people mess that up. So. Yeah, big howdy and yeehaw to everyone tuning in today for the Women in Rugby round. Stoked to be here.
So welcome to the YouTube for your co-commentary debut. We've seen you a few times out there this season on the YouTube. We've shown a couple of women's matches today, but you're playing later today for the She-Girls. Big game for them, last one of the regular season. Looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm super stoked. We're coming up against the great Southern Lionesses, which we've had a pretty good rivalry with them this whole season. Starting off early days, we had a draw with them, which was definitely an exciting one to play. And there's always just good vibes on the field. So keen to get out there. Bit of a later start for us than usual. We usually kick off at 2, and today we'll be on at 4. So interesting to see how those conditions change things.
Yeah, you're usually having the G&Ts and the breezes by 4 o'clock, is that it?
I
or
mean
some of the other ladies are?
What happens off the field stays off the field, I reckon.
And the last time you played the Divas, the She-Girls actually got a bit of a scalp, is that correct?
Yeah, we there's good rivalries all round, and I have to say the Divas have been a very strong team this year. They've beaten, well, we're now even, so we've managed to get ahead of them last game.
Oh, right.
I think yeah, it's all about a mind game with the Divas. When they're on, they're really on, and sometimes if you get in their heads a little, you can rattle them up a bit, and I think we managed that last game. So let's see if they keep their cool today.
How will they find themselves 5-0 down in this one against the top of the table Cala Queens with that conversion unsuccessful?
It's early days, it's still a tight score, it could go either way.
And what does it mean to you as a player to have these Women in Rugby round where all the ladies, whether it's the community 10s and the other premiership teams, because often you don't get a chance to actually watch the other women's games, do you? Because you're often playing at different venues. What does it mean to you as a player to have these rounds where everyone's together?
Oh, that's it, for sure. It's been really fun to kind of get down early, see what else has been going on, and watch the other teams, scope out the competition a little bit. Really exciting stuff watching the combined previously 10s teams formed 15s teams in the game before this. So hopefully that brings up the interest and we can get a few more teams in the 15s next year.
And Zoe Gillard taking a little bit of a dive from the 9 position here, passes off to Wigley. And a strong tackle there by the Queens as the Divas have it on halfway. And Hannah Palele takes the carry, one out from the ruck.
She's been really impressive this season, Hannah. Every time she carries, you don't want to be the one tackling her. She'll just run straight through you.
And played in a couple of different positions, but we get to look at her playing at front row today. And as somebody who plays in the front row, I'm going to ask, who is the hardest scrummagers that you've come up against this season in the women's competition?
That's a very good question, Jason. Gosh, it is a bit like a Mexican standoff coming up into the front row, the scrum setting up, and you get to scope out your opposition. I think it's not a secret that Kalamunda have had the strongest front row, and I do enjoy coming up against my opposing hooker in Hedabab, Malcolm Heke. But also, there's been strong front rows all round, and it's been great to see Southern Lions also bring up some players to get some experience in that front row. So Deborah will be my opposition today. Shout out to Deborah from Southern Lions. She's been doing great in that hooker position as well.
And when you're looking at the team sheet, when you're coming up against the Cala Queens this season, you breathe a sigh of relief when you see Hirabab Malcolm Heke playing at the 8 position. Do you go, oh, yes?
I'm always up for a challenge, Jason, you know. It's a bit like, you know, if you're going to ride the bucking bull, you got to commit to it and strap on, you're in for the ride. So, no, I love to take her on at the hooker position.
And this year, Rugby WA is going to be sending away a Perth Gold women's team for the first time to the Australian Rugby Shield. That's going away in September into early August. So are the ladies aware of the Perth Gold Tour? Is there chat around Clubland about people putting their hand up and keen to make an impression on the selectors to secure a spot in the training squad and then hopefully get that trip over to Ballymore?
There's been a lot of chat, I can tell you, in the She-Girls camp. A lot of girls wondering, how can I kind of put my foot forward and hoping that they've been playing well enough to get selected. And I reckon it's been the same at all clubs. I think we're all really excited to have the opportunity to put on some black and gold and represent the state and take this further than just Clubland.
And so with that question, who, with the Cottesloe She-Girls coming up, the game after this, who in the She-Girls lineup should we be looking at?
There's a lot of names we already know from the She-Girls. Katie Barnes, unfortunately, she's having to go halfback again today, which is not her most comfortable position. And we've got the Bree Wallaces and all the quick and fast ones who we've seen the last couple of years. But we've had some really good up-and-coming talent. Kayla Van Spal, she's actually a professional cricketer, and we're kind of trying to tilt her towards the rugby because she's loving it. Zoe Elliott has been a force to be reckoned with this year, just busting through the gain line. And Mackenzie Sattler, who joined us from Wests as they could not field a 15s team this year. She wanted to really give 15s a crack. She's been an awesome scrummager. I always feel safe having her by my side. So there's a couple names for you.
Oh, it's good, some good insight for Dane and I for the game after this one. So a few names to look out that will be putting their hand up for that selection. So excellent. And earlier this year as well, you were involved with the Super W squad. How has it been this year coming off Super W, that atmosphere, that high performance training environment into the women's rugby competition? Have you noticed it's made the step up for the competition this year, or is everyone absolutely gassed from Matt Hodgson flogging everyone around the rugby field for the first 3 months of the year?
Well, I think you can see the fitness in the competition's a bit better this year, probably thanks to that. It's definitely been a step up, so I was fortunate enough to be involved with the Force last year as well and see what the club season was like after a professional season and then head back. This year, yeah, big change. We've been keeping up with an academy program organised by the Force, so training an extra 2 days a week, which has been really great. You can see that the skills have just improved massively. There's a lot of offloads and strong clean-outs at the ruck this year compared to last, and I think that's been really beneficial. But also there was a nice period where we got a month to kind of take a step back, go back to club, and just really enjoy being with your mates, and that's what club season's about.
Yeah, and an example of some good skills there. Great exit kick from the Western Force fly half, Nicole Leddington, actually putting one on the boot there and chipping off a good 40 metres with that clearing kick, and she was just outside the 22, so a good read for the kick to drop just in touch and roll out. Well, thanks for joining us on the Co-Coms. I'll let you get back to your warm-up and getting ready with the She-Girls. But it's been great having you come here and chat a bit of rugby with us, and we look forward to seeing how you go out there. Best of luck, and yeah, thanks for joining us on the comms.
Thanks for having me.
And that was Sophia Bakir Fuentes joining us on the co-commentary, and joining me back on co-coms is the Let's Chat legend, Dane Lazarus. How was does that give you an opportunity to just warm the hands a little bit while you were standing up there? Well,
it wasn't warm at all anywhere down here, Jason. Rest the vocal cords, which was good. Bit on yesterday, but yeah, great to be back on the comms now to another scrum. What a way to welcome me back.
And it was good to hear from Sophia there that the ladies are all competing for that Perth Gold gig later in the year. Looking forward to a trip over to just test where they're at in a national rugby championship against some of the other community state teams. So great to hear that everyone's pumped for it, and that's a great line here by Zakia and Kerry. Kerry Ober steps to the outside. She's brought down in the tackle as the Queens off the back of that scrum head into their 22 and look to put a score on as Pomare out to a great offload there by Hira Bahab Malcolm Heke, and again a pass over the top now to the far winger. That's Alex Foster, I believe, and they find themselves just a few blades of grass short of the try line here, the Queens. And really good attacking move, 2 phases, left to right across the field off the back of that scrum. And it's all getting a little bit messy there, right by the line. Referee right on the spot to see if the ladies can get over, and they're going to go again with the pick and go from the back as they did with the first try. And Frida Arsam this time is in the position to make the tackle, and it looks as if the ball is be a penalty for the Queens there as the ball's knocked on. Leddington takes a quick tap, no, but not on the spot. Well picked up by the referee there.
Yeah, another good play there off the scrum. Big fend there by Zakia Kariopa on an opposite number. Managed to get the pass away to number 15, Hanaki. And yeah, Journey Kariopa making all sorts of trouble there for Namahi Monk, who managed to take it down. The big forward's looking here to rumble it again.
Yeah, it's interesting, Pomare wearing the 7 jersey, but she's gone into first receiver a few times as well. Can't help but play that 12-10 role that she'll be comfortable in from her time with Super W and the Wallaroos as the Queens go over the line here. That is Hirabab Malcolm Heke going over the line, I believe, with a big, strong carry for the Queens. So just too much ball carrying there for the Divas. They held them out for a while, but the Cala Queens find themselves up now 2 tries to 0 with a kick to come.
Yeah, that was the Heki double. Big Kitana Kamazoni Heki took a number of defenders to bring it down, and then Herabab said, I'll take it the rest of the way, thanks for putting in the work, and managed to dot it down to the right-hand side of that post. They're just looking like they're getting into their work now, Jason. They're managing to get a quick break on the outside through their backs, and then bringing it back into the forwards to make it hard work for the Wanneroo defence. So really playing to their strengths here, and that's going to... The chat in the huddle here for Wanneroo isn't too dissimilar to what we chatted about last time, Jason. It's just a matter of when they hold that ball, they look good. We saw Aisha Wigley have a big break early in the first half here, but they haven't been able to get their hands on the ball again, which meant they're just tackling. And the old saying, you can't score a try without the ball. This is what it is.
Yeah, well, if you have to tackle Kamazona Heke and Hirabab, Malcolm Heke, Braxton Walker, all big, strong ball carriers. So it's no fun having to tackle them all day long.
I definitely would not want to.
Wigley to get us underway with the restart, pops it up, and the ball goes long, taken well by Pomare. Kariopa here steps out of the first tackles, brought down by the second. And Kamazona Heke picks up where we left off after the score and carries the ball forward. It's contested at the breakdown by the Divas, but the ball comes out now to Mason in the 5 jersey. And Reddington puts it on the boot. And it's similar to the earlier line, but this one doesn't find touch, and it's collected well by Kia Ursig.
And a correct call there by the referee. Rosie McGann did have an opportunity to go for that ball, but just overextended, got hands on the floor, so she went past the ball and then tried to come back and take it from the ruck, which is illegal. Have to get hands straight on the ball, not past the ball.
An old school torp there as well. That was, I'm not sure whether it was an intentional one, but it's a lovely little torpedo there. Finding touch as the Divas will have the line out 10 metres into their attacking half, and
Latia Roy here. No, sorry, not Latia.
Rangapipi Kahui,
yes.
And Gillard to Wigley now to Kira McCaskill. Oh, good offload to Wigley. So wide now to Jenna Jordan. And the Divas, when they have the ball in hand, we saw from maybe a month ago when we were out at Kalamunda, and that was a cracking game, that one. It came down to, I think it was a 2 or 3 point win for the Queens, but it was a back and forward affair with the Divas scoring a lot of tries in that one. So they do have the ability there, but they've given the ball away here for, what was the call on that one, Dane? I was looking down at my sheet.
So I think there was probably one of 2 calls there, Jason. Zakia Kariopa, one of 2 tacklers there, pulling Zoe Gillard to ground. Number 21, Kariopa, got over ball. And I think she got hands on ball, so first off not releasing, but then I think the Wanneroo Divas player came in on the angle, so into the ruck from the wrong side, or illegal angle, and referee had his choice there of a penalty. Didn't find touch there again, Leddington. She'll be wanting to improve on that.
A strong carry there by Namahi Monk, the fullback, took it well, and the Divas will have an opportunity. Pelele gets the ball stripped in the tackle by Heke, and the Queens will come away with it. Palmyre has the ball now. Goes out to Carriopa, and looking for the offload, but tackled well. And ball wrapped up in the tackle, and the player diving off their feet at the ruck, the first arriving player, not staying on their feet. So good defence there by the Divas, because they had a couple of big Kalamunda Queen ball carriers running at them. And one of the things I want to talk about, Dane, as well, is that with the Perth Gold coming up is you take a squad of 23 and they play 5 games in the space of about 7 days, as that kick hasn't found touch. So Ariana Ruru Henake brings it up, and the Divas contested the breakdown, and Wigley, the ball comes up, makes the tackle as the ball comes out. Again, brought to ground. We know where this ball's going. At the back now to Palmyre, and that's Charlie Stevenson, I believe, with the carry there, and a good offload by the Queens as they look to recycle this, but they are taken into touch. What I was going to say is, playing so many games in a short period of time, we are seeing a number of players play out of their traditional position over the 2 games today. And that's not a bad thing, because when you have so many short games in a short period, you need a little bit of versatility in the squad. So we see Zoe Gillard, for example, coming in and playing 9 today, Aisha Wigley playing 10. That just shows if you pick up some injuries in the tournament, we're not flying anyone over to replace them. So it's great to know that these players can slot into positions, be comfortable, know what they need to do. It gives the coaching team that little bit of versatility if they need to change things up for any, suspended players or injuries and things like that. They know how to play a number of different positions, so we'll see that today as the Divas bring it down in the line out, but that throws not straight, and we'll have a scrum to the Cala Queens.
Yeah, and I think with those games, Jason, it's just a great opportunity to showcase your individual skills, but then as a team, as a state, showcase what the talent is from the state to the rest of the country. We have always punched above our weight in both the male and the female state programs. Now in the youth sevens, we've had ladies that have represented Australia, won gold medals with Australia. Carriopa being on this field is one of them that's played for Australia. At the youth sevens age group, number of girls that have been on talent ID lists with the Wallaroos. So there's always players in the state that will be looked at, and this is just another opportunity for them to get showcased across the country. And it's a bit of scrappy here at the breakdown. Both teams competing very hard at the breakdown, very slow, coming out to...
Good hands by Ariana Renake, throws it out to Jenny Carriopa, who passes a bit high in front of her, and it's knocked on, so we'll have a scrum to the Divas. Yep, the men's team as well, going to the Australian Rugby Shield as well, the Perth Gold men and women's. So they've recently started training, but obviously heading into finals time. A lot of people in clubland pretty excited, getting finals fever.
I'm going to do the same to these guys. We had one earlier over there. Everyone stops. If I don't blow the whistle, we're playing on. Okay? I think
a couple of big games today in the Fortescue Premiership men's competition as well, with the likes of Associates, Cottesloe v UWA. That's a big one for Cottesloe. They're going to need to win that one to get into the 4 potentially. And it'll be great this year. Palmyra, Tompkins Park is the host for the grand final, and the women's match has been bumped up the schedule and is going to be the curtain raiser to the men's premiership final on field 1. So it'll be great for the ladies again to be front and centre about 2 o'clock Not close to it, I'm not sure yet, Dane. Somewhere around 2 o'clock. But they will be the curtain raiser to...
And just looking at the scrum, just a bit of a chat there from the referee to both front rowers on that bind. The tight head of Kalamunda, Braxton Walker, and the loose head, Hannah Palele, just having a bit of a tussle, trying to get their heads into position. Much better position here. Big, strong contact on the engage, and Kalamunda goes straight through, looking for the penalty, but got the ball out. Wiggly, unfortunately, off the side of the boot, into touch, and Kalamunda still applying that pressure.
Yeah, big shove there by the Queen's front row.
Yeah, they looked a bit angry there, Jason, after having that chat from the referee, and they took it hard on that front row. Didn't get the penalty, but definitely would have sent a message to the Divas.
Your Divas did a good job to get the ball out quickly, because if your scrum is going backwards, if you can get the ball out quickly, it's one of the best ways to avoid, as the Divas...
Stolen another one.
Good strong run there by the Divas. And Wiggly picks it up off the bounce, does well, steps well.
And slow ball here for the Divas. McCaskill calling for it. Tip to Sophia Talamarai. She gets her arms free. Frida Assam carries over 2, knocks it on. Picked up by Braxton Walker. So they've got a knock-on advantage here. Rosie McGann looks to play. Kamazoni Heki. Ball shifted. Keriopa. Stevenson. Hanaki on the inside. Misses that one. Keriopa cleans it up and takes it forward. She has a good strong fend, but brought down by the Wanneroo Divas on that far touchline. Leddington takes it forward, runs it to the biggest player on the Divas team, Frida Assam, and turned over.
Yeah, good turnover there by the Divas, by Frida Assam, and now they win the penalty as well, the Divas. So opportunity, and Wiggly, as we've seen her done so much this season with the quick tap, and she does run away from her support play, and they've done well to keep a hold of that, because McGeehan was sniffing for a pilfer, as Jenna Jordan brings the ball forward for the Divas.
And great counter ruck there by Kalamunda.
Stevenson, here she goes. Has she got the legs to go all the way? Covered defenders coming across, does well to bring her down. And the support play does well to get to her and recycle the ball for the Queens as well. So opportunity here for the Cala Queens. And we've seen this play so often. 2 passes out to a big front rower.
And missed her timing there.
And a quick pass there quick tap, by the Queens.
They got a bit of an advantage here, Jason.
Leddington. Couple of dummies. Oh, sold some candy. 2 dummies inside out and runs through. And a lovely try there by the Queens fly half. That's I was naughty throwing that many dummy passes, I think.
I can tell you now, Nicole Leddington back in the day, down at Britannia Oval, she came down playing a bit of touch 7s, and mate, she sold me a few dummies like that as a 12, 13-year-old. She has all the skills, Jason. A really, really solid rugby player. Has a touch rugby background, so looks to get into space, throw the dummies, hold defenders, and that little bit of acceleration takes her over the line and extends this lead, 17 points to 0 with the kick to come. So she'll look to convert her own try here.
I think some of those Divas defenders are still expecting her to throw that pass as she sold it so well. 1 and 2, double helping, double scoop.
It was good. It was really, really good, but really, really good play again. And it's the traditional Kalamunda try. Big break by the backs. Forwards get into their work. They had a penalty advantage, and then bang, give it back to the backs, and off they go.
Yeah, they look to be playing to their structure, the Queens, really well. They know the game plan, and they're executing it pretty well at times. It's good to see them play, and they'll be heartbroken after last year finishing top of the table, and in a very competitive and hard-fought women's Grandy last year. They were just pipped by the She-Girls on the day after winning the minor premiership, the Queens. They wanted to go and wrap up the whole thing. So they've got unfinished business this year, and they will have learned from that. And said they'll be heading straight through to the grand final after this game, finishing as minor premiers today, which is a great result for the Kalamunda Rugby Club and the Cala Queens. But the She-Girls going for the three-peat. Dane, can they do it?
I think they'll be battling these two good sides at some point. Two grand finals essentially for them. One in the semi-final and then in the final itself. So they'll have two massive games if they wish to go all the way again.
They did beat the Divas last week, so they do know how to beat them. Might have been 2 weeks ago. Again, to Leddington, to Walker. And
Wanneroo just managed to slow the ball down just a little bit. And again, a very, very strong carry there. Looks like Herabab Malcolm Hecky. And they got good structure here, Kalamunda, having lots of opportunities for players to run off a ball carrier. All backwards, says the referee. And turned over there by the Divas, making it very, very messy here. Jordan in at first receiver. And big contact there in the midfield. Front row on front row. Wigley shifts it. McCaskill.
good inside step there. Read the defence coming up and chips off a few metres.
Talamarai, she's done well all of this first half, getting over the gain line with each of her carries. And a knock on there by Assam. I think some tiring bodies here. And they look to pounce. Hanaki down the blind. And McGann.
Yeah, there's 1 minute left in the half, so a few tired Divas defenders hadn't made some big tackles, but they'll be keen to see if they can put something on the scoreboard as they come away with the ball here. Nice big strong tackle there by the Queens on the captain, Kahui. Wiggly now, Talamarai. She's wrapped up high in the tackle by a couple of big Queens coming out of there. And they go back to the blind side. Here's Sarah Sam, the veteran. Good carry from her. Takes a few to bring her down. McCaskill met well in the tackle. Can the Divas put something on the board before the half? Wigley puts it on the boot. It's charged down. She recovers it well. Kerry Opa brings around the tackle, competes at the breakdown. It's cleared out well. There's big Latia Roy. She's been busy today, putting her name up for a hooker position for Perth Gold. Talamarai, good footwork. And the Divas recycle. And Sarah Assam going in as makeshift half there. Tries to get the ball out to Frida. That's Captain Kahui keeping a hold of it.
And a large number of phases here. Wanneroo are playing a player down with Kira McCaskill down in back play.
Gets a bit scrappy there with the kick through by Topaz Jean Porter, and there appears to be an injury. There's a knock on, and unfortunately looks to be an injury to McCaskill as she's leaving the field. And I think the referee, is that half time?
That's half time.
It's half time. All right, well, we'll take a break here. Thanks for joining us for the first half, and we'll be back in a few minutes in this Fortescue Women in Rugby round. back to McGilvray Oval for this women's premiership match between the Cala Queens and the Wanneroo Divas. It's the second half and it's the Fortescue Women in Rugby round, and I'm joined to start the second half in co-commentary by Chelsea Wolf.
Hello, hello.
Hey
How's it
Chelsea,
going?
thanks for joining us. We were just chatting earlier. You've been down here earlier watching the women's community grade that was the curtain raiser for this one, and great to see the ladies who usually play 10s throughout the season get a crack at playing 15s this year.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It was good to watch the game as well. Nice to see everyone having a crack at 15s and growing that aspect, as we do want more girls playing 15s and growing that comp.
Now, unfortunately, you'd be out there today, but you're injured at the moment. You're on the
Yes, I
sideline.
am.
How did that happen? You were playing earlier this year. Fill us in.
Yeah, so I was training with the Western Force earlier this year and just had a really bad knock to my shoulder and dislocated it. And then just tried to rehab it without surgery, and then unfortunately that didn't go to plan either, and got surgery 5 weeks ago. So on the mend and hopefully back for Super W this year.
Yeah, just on that Super W, so you've been training with the Force, a wider squad earlier this year. How's that been, training with the ladies in that high-performance setup with the Western Force?
It's phenomenal. The diversity and the range that we have in that squad is something new for me, so being new to the game and joining those girls has been quite the learning experience. I really love everyone that's come in, and you learn so many different things about your position, and all the knowledge that you gain from the coaches and the girls is really fantastic.
And we're watching a couple of those Super W players play in this game now. Who are some of the standouts for you in training, on the field? I'm putting you on the spot now, telling you to pick your favourites, but I'm saying, who are some of the players that you look up to and go, geez, absolutely killing it, what a player, learning heaps from?
Yeah. Position-wise, who I loved learning off was Sarah Abatuti. She has quite a depth. She came from the Fijiana squad who won Super W, both to the 2023 season and 2022 season. And she has just got such a class about her and her ability to just put her hand up and help you understand things. And I shifted from second row to back row this year. Another person I would really love is Trilly. Her ability to just break things down in a concept. Any difficult plays that I really struggled with, she just took the time to make sure I understood what I was doing and be able to execute my role the best I could.
That's great, and what a great experience to be able to have two international players to lean on there, one for Fijiana and one for the Wallaroos with Trilly. And so, yeah, great that the ladies can bring that experience to the setup and help the younger players coming around them. As Kahui lays it back there to Wiggly as the Divas look to start this second half on a positive note, but Palele knocks the ball on from the pop pass, but we're going back for a penalty. So an opportunity here for the Divas to start the second half in a positive note. They're finding themselves down 17-0. And what about some of the younger players? So that's great experience there with Trilene and Sarah Rabatuti as the Divas take the quick tap, not correctly. So we'll have a scrum for the Queens, bit of a let-off there for the Queens. What about some of the younger players coming through that you've noticed and you've thought, oh, she's going to be an absolute rock star in the future?
Yeah, we've got some girls out there today that have really come out of their shell this year. Looking at Rosie, who's playing number 9 for Cala. She did amazing in the Sevens tournament, so she was playing Rising Stars as well with Tamika Jones, I believe, and then went on to get selected for Com Games in the Sevens squad, so she was amazing in that area and she's really coming out of her shell. I'm really glad I'm on the same side as her.
She tackle hard, does she?
Yeah, definitely. Another girl that's really come out of her shell who's amazing is Zoe Gillard. She's playing Wanneroo. She's also really grown confidence and I think she'll go really far in her career as well.
Great, and we had, as I said, the Perth Gold tour to the Australian Rugby Shield, so that's the Rugby WA representative side that will be going away. We're having a look at all of the grades here, so the community grade women had the opportunity with the selectors here. Tell us some names and some players to watch out for from the community grade.
Oh, put me on the spot here. Susanna Kano really has put her mark in her junior gold tour that she did, and she played today as well, and she made some really good post-contact meters. It was really great to see her. Another girl that's doing really well, her inside step always gets us, is Nikki Hart. She does really well with the inside step and her dummies.
Here's a really good move by the Queens off the scrum there. Carriopa puts a big fed on, and that's a great one. And just ball comes loose in the tackle there, and Gillard picks it up and is brought down by Carriopa. But that was a really tidy move off the scrum there with the 9, Rosie, coming off. And the Divas just put the ball down and will come back for the original knock-on. So nice, tidy little move there by the Queens off the back of that scrum. And looks as if we might have a change with Zoe Gillard moving to fullback and Namahi Monk, one of the young ladies that was in the under-18s team that went over to the Southern States Championship and won, undefeated, and didn't concede a point.
Unbelievable.
So it was a pretty amazing performance by that Rugby WA state team that went over to that competition, and Namahi Monk was part of that. There's a few of the ladies out there. Topaz Jean Porter was in the team as well, but yeah, the lady with the 15 on her back, she was playing 13, did excellent, as well as Rosie, as we were discussing before. So yeah, there's a really good age group in that under 18s at the moment. There's some real stars. Wiggly now pops it out to Gillard, catches the ball behind her, does well to do, and she's got speed, Gillard. She looks to get to the outside here and takes the ball into touch with the tackle, but showed a good pair of heels there. So looking forward to Super W next year, you'll obviously be training, looking to get back the fitness back. Are you excited for next year's season? And you know, what can we expect from the Force ladies, do you think?
Yeah, I'm really excited to get back into the Super W squad. I'm currently training with Academy, which I'm really grateful for, and their support in my heading back to Super W has been amazing so far. I think the biggest thing that we can look forward to for next year is that we're going to grow again. Each year we've almost doubled in our resources and in the way the team has demonstrated themselves, coming off breaking a dry spell this season as well. Going back-to-back on 2 wins was fantastic. So I think we're going to see a lot of competitive drive between the players, and that'll drive skill set and performance and speed.
And here come the Queens, and this is Stevenson now, as the Calla Queens look to put a score on the board. Leddington to Palmare, to Kira Barb, Malcolm Heke. Leddington, they're moving the ball well. They've got numbers on the outside here, the Queens, and the pass just goes forward there, and a bit of a let off for the Divas because I think they had good numbers on the outside there, and they were scrambling to get over, but just at the final, the pass going forward. So yeah, it was great last year having the start was this year actually, sorry. The start of the year we had the Force ladies play here at UWA at McGilvray, and they got the win against the eventual champion. So the team obviously shows they've got the ability to, you know, beat the best in the competition. So hopefully next year it's just looking to do that throughout the season and put themselves in an opportunity to play finals. But it was a great day as well with the hill here at McGilvray Oval full. And we had a lot of the women's community grade as curtain raisers for that game. But we'd like to see more of that, wouldn't we? Like the ladies having their own match here at McGilvray and be able to fill as many supporters as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think the crowd really made it for us. Again, being in a home environment like this just makes it so much more personal with the crowd, and showing women's sport is always fantastic in women's rugby and how it's growing. To see the hills so full also showed that there is an interest, and people want to see the game grow.
And am I right, correct me if I'm wrong, but you started your rugby playing here in WA with UWA, is that
yes,
correct?
I did. So I started at the end of 2021, just through a group of friends, and then got put forward for the 2021 wider squad, and have been with the Force ever since.
So that's great, starting out in the 10s competition and finding yourself with UWA and finding yourself in the Super W Academy setup at the moment.
Yeah.
So it just shows there's some talent in that 10s competition, and it's also a great pathway for those ladies that are new to the game to start at 10s and move their way up?
Definitely, I think 10s is the best way to grow your confidence with a tackle sport, especially if you haven't done it before. The referees are great. They really take their time to explain rules if you don't understand them, and there's a diversity in there as well of girls that are in their first 2 years. May have played one season before, you can learn off them as well. So it really provides the range of like, I've never played a contact sport, to, yeah, this is my first, second year, this is how we can go about it confidently.
And before I let you go, Chelsea, I'm going to put you on the spot and say the women's Premier Grade or Premiership final this year, who's taken it out?
Or I'm going to hedge my bets on Wanneroo. They've had a really, really successful season this year, which is nice to see. They've had some massive scores, but it will be tight. I reckon we're in for a preview this game for our final.
You think this will be the final, be Divas v Queens? So
Potentially, yeah.
Cottesloe not getting the three-peat in the
Ooh.
ladies?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I can let Sophia do that.
And Kahui now goes to, and a nice little move to Hannah Palele off the line out there by the Divas, and a pop pass to the captain, Kahui. Well, Chelsea, thanks for joining us today on this Women in Rugby round.
Beautiful,
And
thank you so much for having me.
a chat, and hopefully you're back out on the park soon, hitting people and, you know, getting involved in some rucks and making some tackles and some carries, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the Super W setup next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And Dane, while I've been having a chat there with Chelsea, you've been watching the game. What do you make of it so far in this second half?
Yeah, I think again it's we've said it a few times. Wanneroo Divas just unable to hang on to that ball for long passages of play and put Kalamunda under any pressure. Here they have a tap play out of their own half through Kira McCaskill, but this Kalamunda Queens team is just tackling ferociously, getting the turnovers after 3 or 4 phases, and yeah, putting the pressure straight back on the Divas team.
Yeah, good to see McCaskill back on the park after limping off earlier. So she's obviously got something taped up there, and Jenna Jordan just puts that one out in front of her, and it's cleaned up by Topaz Jean Porter, but we will have a scrum to the Cala Queens.
Yeah, so there is that pressure we were talking about, Jason. They're just unable to build 1-2 phases, then a turnover, just resulting in an easy play here now for Kalamunda Queens. Scrum time, it's been pretty even, apart from 1 or 2 scrums here, Jason, today. It's been pretty even. Both front rows and tight 5 have been quite good, so hopefully it stays that way. Rosie McGann ready to put that ball in straight into the scrum. No 9 puts it in crooked. Strong scrum, and she looks to get that ball out quick to Stevenson.
Good
To
little dummy to the
Leddington.
inside there as well. Carriopa and Gillard slips, coming to make the tackle, and that's younger sister, Journey Carriopa, going over for her first try of the game. So a really good move there by the Queens off the scrum, Dane.
Yeah, really good play. Stevenson hit that hard line, and it sucked a few of the defenders in from the back line. Played out the back to Leddington, and Leddington put the foot down to Carriopa, and it just a slip there by Gillard didn't help her at all. And I can tell you now, you could hear Journey yelling for that one in the first half. She probably had opportunity to score if Zakia passed her the ball. And she said, next time that happens, you give it to me. And she finished it off really well, Journey Carriopa.
Well, she's got absolutely rapid wheels. So, and that's exactly what a winger wants, to get the ball with nobody in front of her. I wish a few defenders would have slipped in front of me in my time, but there must be a sniper over there in the bushes for UWA. But yeah, it looks as if just no issues for Zoe Gillard other than losing the footing there. But yeah, as a winger, that's exactly what you want. Open space in front of you, time to show off the jets, the wheels.
Jason, I think you and I both have the same issue where the defender could slip and still catch us.
Yeah, there was absolutely no jets or wheels when I was running around out there, that's for sure. And Leddington misses the conversion, so it'll be 24 0 to the Cala Queens. And Dane, I'm going to put you on the spot. So Chelsea says she thinks the Divas are going to win the Women's Premiership this year. She thinks this will be the grand final, these two teams. Do you agree?
I think she would know more than me, Jason. I think a few people would say the same. They know more than me. It's coming from the insights of Chelsea Wolf, who knows a lot of these players, so really invaluable. But what we're seeing today is a really strong display by the Kalamunda Queen. So yeah, you'd be really brave to bet against them. And I have my money on Kalamunda Queens, Jason. No money, that is. It's what I get paid. And I think they'll just be a tough team to beat. They're playing really well, backs, forwards, their reserves. They come on and make an impact, and I think that's the difference between the Queens and the other teams in this league. Just want to probably just also mention, Jason, again, it's the Fortescue Women's round 12, and here at UWA Sports Park, it's been an outstanding day having the 10s. We saw the Perth Irish playing. We saw the combined Basie and UWA and Palmyra and West teams play. It's been one fantastic day of rugby, and culminating in these two premier grade women's games, one being this one, Kalamunda Queens and the Wanneroo Divas, and the main game, or the final game of the day, the Cottesloe She-Girls up against the Southern Lionesses.
Yeah, and it'll be the last game of the season for the Southern Lionesses, so they'll be going into it giving it a red-hot crack to see if they can get a scalp against Cottesloe. And as we heard from Sophia earlier, Cottesloe have actually moved above the Divas on the ladder, so they will want to finish in second spot rather than third spot, and they'll have an opportunity to do that. If the scores stay of a similar line here in this game, Cottesloe can win their game. They'll finish second as McCaskill brings it forward in the carry.
And the other big one we mentioned a few times, Jason, is just about this, the importance of having women's rugby here in WA, but across the country for rugby. It's Women's World Cup 2029. These ladies have, some of these young ladies especially, the likes of the Rosie McGann, Nicole Leddington, Topaz, Jean Porter. They have the opportunity to represent Australia at a home World Cup, which is really, really exciting. And then off the back of that, we have players like we mentioned, Zakia Kariopa, who has represented Australia before in a sevens capacity. Off the back of the Olympics being here in 2032, we have girls like potentially Journey Kariopa, who you mentioned, who has jet shoes, who could represent Australia as a seven superstar at the Olympics. So lots of opportunities on the horizon, and future of women's rugby in Australia and the state looking promising. But we want to keep that momentum going and get more and more ladies playing the game at both the junior and the senior level.
Well said, Dane, as the Divas look to put their first points of the game on the board. Pick and go at the scrum. Monk to McCaskill. Wiggly, they've got numbers here. The Divas, they go wide. It's Zoe Gillard, goes on the fence. She somehow gets the ball down. Score is good. She juggled it and sort of held the ball behind her back as she went to ground there, but she ends up grounding it without knocking on. So great effort there by Zoe Gillard. She put the fend on, which gave her a little bit of space. The ball kind of popped out, but she managed the old juggling act, and it's great to see the Divas get some payoff for all of that hard work. After a good attacking play, they kept it close into the ruck, couple of pick and goes, and then let their speedy backs have it. So the Divas are on the board. It's the Queens 24, Divas 5. Kick to come for Wigley.
And Chelsea Wolf mentioned Zoe Gillard when you were on the commentary with her, Jason. So there she is. The try she just scored there, reminiscent of Will Jordan scoring for the All Blacks, juggled it in the air, still managed to get it down under pressure. That's the talent that we have in the state, and it's great to see her and the Wanneroo Divas get reward for that effort. A lot of pressure on the Kalamunda Queens. They're starting to look like they're tiring, and this is possibly where the likes of Aisha Wigley, who's having this kick now, and Zoe Gillard, Topaz Jean Porter can exploit that bit of tiredness in the Cala Queens.
Well, it was actually 24-0 when we called the game maybe a month ago, and I think it finished 21-24 or 22. It was a close one as Wigley gets the kick as well, and you can hear from the Divas bench they liked that one. So great effort there, and that actually is an important kick as well as they go, and she looks over to some mates on the hill as well and gives them a bit of a thumbs up and said, "Yep, see, I can do it." I think I'm going to be really critical here, Dane, and she's not going to be happy for me saying this, but I reckon she snuck about a metre in from where that try was scored. So she won't like me saying it, but I reckon she was a bit cheeky there and just snuck it in a little bit. But good kick there from Wigley as the Queens come back in this one. So as I said, the Divas have got it in them to come back, and they're obviously a strong finishing team.
Definitely, Jason, and we've got Leddington here with the kickoff. We'll see which way she goes. She's got options both ways. It looks like she's going to the left. McGann putting a lot of pressure on the chase. And secured there by Talamarai, Just, Wigley, Roy's met by a few defenders, but gets over the gain line.
Carry there.
McCaskill, great offload to Kahui. Jordan, she gets it out. And good tackle there by Stevenson to shut that play down. And great play there at the line there, Jason. Offloading at the line, which is really hard to do. You know you're going to get hit. Assam to Assam. And foot down. And I think that
referee's called play on that one. Must have gone backwards. So here's McCaskill and running with ball in hand. Great. She looks for the offload. Oh, a bit of a basketball tip pass there, and Cariopa gets it. She's been really good today, Cariopa. This is one of the best games I've seen her play this season. She's been strong in the carry, and she's put a couple of big hits on, and she's looking to be peaking towards finals, which is good for her, but she's been very good today for the Cala Queens. Here, Malcolm Heke taking the ball forward, and
they're just putting work back, putting the pressure back on the Wanneroo Divas here. Big show and go from Braxton Walker, but she stopped, met in the tackle. McGann plays it quick.
Good footwork there by Leddington as well. Ball in two hands. And here is Trelene Palmari. Gives her the goose step and the step inside. Lovely offload again back inside to Leddington, who stays alive, but lovely bit of footwork there. And they're going to come back the short side. They go for the burn. I think they do. Here's Palmari again with the goose step. Goes out to Cariopa. She's going to go in for the corner. And great reward for all of that hard work by Cariopa. She deserved a try, but can we talk about the Trillian Palmari? I don't think I've seen the goose step. She pulled it out in two phases there. The little, does she know that she's playing in the 7 jersey
I
today,
think that's
or?
what we're shocked about, Jason. We haven't seen a 7 do a goose step like that in a very long time since I've played that, Jason. But she identified the space, and her and Cariopa just reloaded really quickly on the blind side. She called for it back, and the Divas actually had numbers in defence. And yeah, just something from nothing. Cariopa identified the space with Palmari, and Palmari, that's probably the first time we've seen her in an open space there, which is great to see. Brought those skills from the Wallaroos camp, so really good to see.
Yeah, that was best try of the game for me there, because the line break leading up to it as well, with Palmari and the offload to Leddington, linking up really well there. And again, we'll have to give Trillian some stick if we see her about that. We can go, where's that goose step been? Let's see it for the Wallaroos.
Yeah, she's in really good shape, Trillian Palmari. She's worked really hard to get her body in a position to handle that international level. And I think playing at 7 here for her is just allowing her to get ahead into those dark spaces, which at international level, regardless of the number you have to do. and she's done it really well today, put a lot of pressure at the breakdown, and no doubt her experience, her skill set. So they've got essentially 2 10s playing on the field, 1 at 10, 1 at 7, and she's linking with the backs really well and just putting those wider passes in, which we know she has in her, and just putting the outside backs into a bit more space.
Yeah, right. It's not just the rugby, but it's actually the travel that the Wallaroos, and particularly Wallaroos that are based here in Perth, have to. That takes a toll on its body as well. So recently, playing games over in Canada, so a fair bit of frequent flyer miles there for Kayla Leonard, who we'll see later today, and Trilene Pomaro are 2 Wallaroos based in Perth. And I'm sure there will be more Wallaroos to come based on what we've seen over the last few months. Leddington to Malcolm Hecate. Good strong carry again, always takes a few to bring her down. And it's turned over really well there by Monk. The ball popped out the side and she heads up play as Arsam throws it out to Roy. And really good offload there in the tackle by the Divas. And if you're right, Dane, if they can keep the ball in hand and get multiple phases, they are bending the line. And Captain Kahui to Telemaraya. Good position over the ball here by the Queen's player, but good position, but the hands were on the ground, so not supporting her body weight.
Yeah, Braxton Walker, yes. Yeah, pounced on that really quickly, but just a bit inaccurate, which is something I'll always say. You have to be accurate to get rewarded. You go straight for the ball, not for the floor. Sarah Assam, sorry. Gets rid of 1. It carries 2. And there's big Frida.
And back-to-back penalties here for the Divas. McCaskill takes a quick tap, running, 2 balls in hand, throws a good pass out to Wigley. Wigley, good step inside. Great step here by Wigley. She's going to be brought down in the tackle, but they're 5 metres out, the Divas. Monk going in there to fish out, she'll go out wide. This now goes to Hannah Palele. And they need to work to get around the corner here. Wigley throws the ball out to the substitute coming off the bench. Kasaya to try to the Divas. The replacement in the 24 jersey, Cass. And so again, great work by Wigley there. A couple of steps and brought in the defenders, and the game's starting to open up a little bit now, which is good. Always fun to see.
Absolutely, and the effort there that you may not see, because you saw number 24 Kasaya going over for the try, but Wigley made the break, gets tackled. The effort to get to the blind side and get the hands-on ball as first receiver to put Kasaya away is the effort that will go unnoticed, unrewarded on the team sheet, but it's those small little plays where Wigley, with their experience playing in Super Rugby with the Western Force, and her sevens experience, identifying space from a fairway away and putting herself in a position to make a play.
That's right. She wanted to be the one with the ball in hand to set up that try, and again, working after being tackled and brought down to get up and work to get around the corner. Great effort there. Great try.
Sure. Has she snuck any metres infield here, Jason?
I'll give the wind about 10 knots into the screen, so with blasts up to 20. So if she catches some of that, it might give her an extra few feet on this kick. As the clouds have come over, it doesn't look like rain, but it's just gone a bit grey here at UWA Sport Park, as Wigley doesn't quite catch that one. Caught it on the inside there, so kick is unsuccessful, and it's the Wanneroo Divas 12, Cala Queens 29. And probably got about 12 minutes left in this one, so can the Divas put another one on the board after the restart here and make things interesting?
They're not rushing to get up to the halfway line, Jason.
No, they probably sucking a few ones in there and sort of say, let's just slow things down. Let's not give the Divas a sniff. I'm sure the referee will be counting those minutes as well, just saying to them, come on. Leddington gets us underway. I think McGeehan took about an extra metre there before the kick and actually rolls past that 10-metre line. And the Divas come away with it. So what can they do here? It's actually going to be a penalty.
McGeehan was quite offside. She nearly had a green shirt on.
Yeah. You could hear the timing on the kick of the hold, and I think she went on hold. She actually was in front of the kick when it bounced on the ground. It was great, but yeah, some timing issues there, but we luckily it didn't come to anything. Or is that actually what the referee called the penalty for? Is he actually brought it back for that offside?
No. So this is just a knock-on from the Wanneroo Divas playing that ball. So even though the ball didn't travel 10, no Kalamunda player handled it before the 10 metres. Wanneroo Divas did. It went backwards first, then a knock-on, and would result in the scrum here, Jason. Good engagement by both teams, and ball played there by McGeehan.
Oh, good little grubber through there by Leddington and gives it to Stevenson, and she's got numbers on her outside, but the pass actually found a Divas player.
Rangi Claire's on off the bench. She has played both codes, League, Union, played for Rugby WA Sevens. So she's got a lot of skill, a lot of talent.
McCaskill taking the ball up there, Wiggly now out to Kasai, the try scorer. Geez, a big hit there by the Colour Queens in defence. Divas look to recycle. Monk to Friedasem. Good pass out to McCaskill. Jordan now catches in the breadbasket. Bounce pass out to Gillard, goes behind her now, and good pass back inside to Jordan. And the Queens contesting this one at the breakdown, and they actually win the turnover. So that's Nari Little in the 8 jersey, and she takes a quick tap, but not at the mark of the penalty. That's the old one where the referee says, no, I need a breather, so I'm going to not the blade of grass that I wanted to see that taken at. So
I've used that a few times, Jason, in my referee.
We all have. That's the secret one there. No, not on the mark. If the referee wasn't ready for the quick tap.
So can't be long left in the game now, Jason.
Got about 9 minutes, Dane.
Fair amount of time, enough time.
No,
for
that math is
Divas.
terrible by me, Dane. It's actually 3 minutes. I usually tell the time by the sun in the sky, and it's overcast, so I misread that one.
Your sundial wasn't working.
So, last 3 minutes of this one, and Queens get a full arm penalty. McGeehan, and again, it's the same thing. They're all keen to take the quick restart, but you've got to do it on the mark. Can also be taken at the back of where the scrum was, where the number 8 standing as well.
Correct.
Can't it, Dane? So, but no, McGeehan was nowhere near it there, either of those marks, as she throws a pass out now to Hira Barb Malcolm Heke, and she's bumped off in the tackle there. Caskell by Mahati Heke, and it's come away for the Divas now.
Oh, and we just got the knock on there.
Initial knock on.
So, just a bit of untidy play here coming towards the end of the game, Jason, by both teams. And just, yeah, scrum after scrum here, which isn't ideal for the front rowers who have been playing all game. And this is where the backs, you turn around to the backs and you just say, come on, guys. Hang on to the ball.
Hold on to it.
Yeah.
Maybe cold hands. It is a bit nippy. So, but they get through a great amount of work there. The Malcolm Heke, Kamazona Heke, to play out the full game in the front row position as well, not have someone come on and relieve you. And Braxton Walker as well, don't want to give her a disservice, playing the full length of the game. It's a great effort from those front rows. They get through a mountain of work as McCaskill brings the ball forward as the Divas rumble outside of their 22, but it's not recycled at Braytown, and Cariopa comes away with it, ducks inside, and the Queens will look to finish on a high here and see if they can put some more points on the board heading into finals. They have themselves a 2-week break, so plenty of opportunity to hit the training field, to get the body right for finals. Leddington gives it to Pomare, the show and go, bumps one off, and good pop pass there. Leddington knocks it on there. Monk with the fan recycles it for the Divas. She's brought down in the tackle.
Yeah, here comes Roy, met by Braxton Walker, who throws her backwards.
Wiggly to Sarah Arsam. She's also played the full game here, so great effort there by the mum out on the field of Frida Arsam. And some good little pick and go into play there by the Divas forwards. As Kasai goes into makeshift number 9. Monk to Arsam, to Gillard. Good footwork by Gillard.
Oh!
And comes across heavy in the tackle.
And Hera Bob hasn't taken a name today, and she decided Gillard would be the one before we ended the game. She stood up to it well, but penalty for offside. Wiggly, quick tap. She takes on a few forwards here.
The kick option might have been on there, but Divas coming away with it. Looking to finish strong here in the dying minutes of this one.
McCaskill had first receiver. She gets rid of one. Goes a bit lateral. Monk with the ball.
Oh, Hannah Palele, great run there with the Queens. She doesn't have a lot in the way of support. Talamariah comes in, but again, Trilene Pomare came in there to get the ball, and the ball pops loose. She comes away with it, but there is no way that is legal. Even if you're a Wanneroo, referee says, no, there's a few things wrong there. I think she was offside at the ruck as well. After getting out, Wiggly takes it quick, goes out to the captain Kahui, to Sarah Arsam, to McCaskill now. Steps inside, puts out a big fend, pops the ball out, Sonny Bill style. The Divas want to finish on a high heading into finals. They'll play the Cottesloe She-Girls in 2 weeks' time in the semi-finals, so they'll want to finish with a bit of confidence here, taking it into that game.
And the pressure came on Frida, but she gets away from 2. Gillard with the snipe. Met by her opposite number, began. She's isolated, and referee just lets it breathe a bit, lets it play. Jordan steps, yeah. Cariopa. Oh, it just throws a loose pass.
And just breaks down there for the Divas. Unfortunately, Frida's gone down there in the tackle. Right at the death there. So the Divas have the penalty, but we might have a bit of a stoppage here for the injury.
And I think that penalty that the referee, I just heard the referee say 7 black, meaning Kalamunda number 7, Trilene Pomari infringed again. So a bit of ill discipline there from Pomari, 2 rucks in a row. And a bit of concern here for Frida Rassam. Hopefully it's not a knee there, Jason. She's done well to rehab it and get back to playing. They look like they're rubbing a bit on around the calf area. No doctor here, Jason.
Well, it might be a bit of cramp, actually. Again, there's not been much in the way of substitutions in this game, so everyone's playing the full 70 and may actually be a bit of cramp, so that would be a good outcome, given the way she went down.
She looks like she'll be able to get up
and those are big calf muscles, so when they cramp, it is quite painful. And yeah, it's great to see her walking off. I think it is just cramp. She's sort of stretching it out there, so...
Yeah. We've all been there, Jason. Mine normally happens 10, 15 minutes into a game, that last minute of the game. So
mine's in the warm-up, mate. So that's... So the Divas, an opportunity here to finish on a high. Wiggly with the tap restart goes to Hannah Palele, who is a strong ball carrier. And Coe goes in as makeshift 9. And it's another good strong carry by Roy.
Palele with second carry here, gets big contact on her. Monk. Run sideways, Wiggly, McCaskill, stopped by Walker. And Monk.
And you can tell Monk's not used to playing the 9 position because she picks the ball up and takes 2 steps to the right, whereas you'll see that a lot of 9s will pass the ball off the deck or pass off at least 1 step, but she's doing a great job deputising at the 9 position there. Usually plays an outside centre role. Wiggly looks to find the gap in between the 2 forward defenders out there wide. And the Divas still looking to finish strong. Gillard again, good footwork. She's shown that a few times today. And Wiggly gets it and has a dart on the outside. The Divas now looking to finish strong.
Jordan.
Pick and go. She might have been picking that outside of her weight class, so I think. Monk throws it out wide to McCaskill with the dummy and takes it to the line. I just don't think they're working as hard as the Queens were to get around the corner there, the Divas. There's an opportunity at the ruck there to work around the corner as Wiggly, again, getting through a mountain of work. And Roy does really well, and the Divas are going to finish on a high.
No, it's stopped by Hururu Hanaki. Oh. Roy
runs it straight and scores the try.
Outstanding try-saving tackle there by Ruru Hanaki.
No, I thought she got the ball down, but yeah, great effort. But then she just gave it to someone twice her size
yes.
and said, there you go. And yeah, great. Roy's been good today as well. She's had some good strong carries and a good finish there from the Divas, the 5-pointers. So with a kick to come, it's 29, the Cala Queens to the Divas 17.
And I think that's a fair reflection of the game so far, Jason. Whilst the Divas wouldn't be happy with it, I think they showed a lot of fight in the second half, and it's something that will take them well into the semi-final, coming up against the She-Gulls, who we have coming up next against the Southern Lionesses. So they can be proud of themselves that they stepped up, they didn't give up, and they fought all the way to the end. And the likes of Zoe Gillard, Aisha Wigley, Latia Roy are players that really stepped up in the second half and Hannah Palele, she started that break, and you know she put in a number of carries towards the last few phases of that try. So really outstanding team effort in the second half by the Divas.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the work Wigley was getting through off the ball, playing in a makeshift 10 position for her, and I think for the Queens, Rosie McGee and playing at 9, good crisp passing all day. Wigley again finishes on a high with the boot as that wraps it up. It's a 10-point victory to the Cala Queens, 29-19, but we are not done yet. We have another match coming up soon. The Cottesloe She-Gulls will take on the Southern Lionesses, but that is the minor premiership for the Cala Queens. So congratulations to the lady from the Kalamunda Rugby Club securing the minor premiership. They've bought themselves a couple of weeks off now and will go into the Grandie at Tompkins Park, and myself and Dame will take a bit of a breather and we'll be back shortly for our second match here in the Fortescue Women